Hi, I'm Ray Wang with Constellation Research. We're going to have a very in-depth conversation about not where AI trends are happening, but where AI trends need to be and the role of where platforms play.
Hi, I'm Nitish and I'm the CTO at Persistent System. I'm going to meet Ray today. We are going to have an exciting conversation.
Nitish, thank you for coming here. It turns out we are in the same city. We won't name that city. Yes, we have traveled far away to have a conversation about where the future is. It's great to see you. And we're going to have a conversation about where the market's headed, where we are today, and a lot of the trends that customers are facing. So let's start here. The AI landscape is filled with massive amounts of hype. And we are in a situation right now where customers are making tough decisions about AI, but not truly understanding what they're getting in terms of outcomes. Can you walk through your approach as to how to help customers see value and understand why they actually have to build, not just for the short term, but also a long-term foundation for success?
Yeah, let's break it down. I think the AI hype is for real. I think we all agree and we all have seen what is the potential when you see agents doing the work. Yeah, it started with automation, co-pilot, different phases, different waves in AI. I think we have come into agentic world where now with multiple agents collaborating, models have become really good. We started seeing some real results out there. Now, for an enterprise, the problem is slightly different than for software companies, for SaaS companies. When we can write code easily, there are only two possibilities. I can make something really fast and I can disrupt something really fast. I think the SaaS companies are seriously being, questioned, stress, industry believe that you may not need those many licenses coming from a SaaS company because people can create software on demand. We've seen how just-in-time software has started to pick up now.
Oh, yeah.
Look at OpenClaw. You don't have anything defined. It just creates the software for you, gets a job
The
done.
sales of Mac Minis.
Yep. And that is why the valuation, the multiplier that they used to get, it is going to be a different world for them. Look at enterprises, they have invested in all of these platforms and they continue to invest.
Yeah.
We talk to people and we see how with individual developer productivity, I look at developer landscape, for example, they're doing good job. All of these agents, they're able to write code, but at an organization level, they see a big problem because the overall productivity has not really gone beyond a 5%, 10% or so. They all believe that the productivity should be in a range of 70, 80%. Something is not right there. For us, it is about giving them the pointers about where the problem exists.
Right.
For example, we came up with a framework called 3C. So we call it core context coordination. A core is about building your right infrastructure in place so you are able to bring all of your AI systems together. If you have fragmented system, your results are going to be fragmented. Context is about ontology, bringing everything together. So now I am able to have my agents take right decisions. So I trust them more. I have more agents. I automate more. Coordination is about building a layer where agents, humans, AI, non-AI systems work together. Any team that gets these three stack right, they are better positioned to start getting benefit from AI. People who bypass them, expecting that if a commodity platform alone can solve my problem, they are struggling today. They all understand, like as a leader, when you see a tool writing infinite code in a day, you are able to do with vibe coding. You expect the whole team should be doing it, and now I should have only 5% of my team. But that is not happening in practical because of these gaps that we look at. I don't know whether you see a similar trend elsewhere or do you see a different pattern that is emerging with that?
Well, we're seeing three things. One, we're in an era of what we call margin compression. Everybody's working 10 times harder, but they're standing still. And so the second piece is really an area called exponential scale. And your timeframes are really 10x, 100x, 1000x. It is faster and better and cheaper. You don't have a choice. And why is that happening? Because of the speed that we can actually do something in AI. But the third piece, which is talking to the heart of what you're discussing, is infinite possibilities with AI. If you don't get your precision and order of operations in place, you're not going to have a strategy. You could build anything. You can code at the speed of thought, but that means you have to be very focused on what you build and what you do not build. And so sometimes rewriting a product doesn't make any sense because you need to market much more quickly. So this is now a game of velocity, which is very different than in the past. That time compression is everything, and most organizations don't understand that level of scale. And so now we actually have a situation where every person in AI or trying to build AI has to understand that speed only gets you so far. Velocity is speed plus direction. You have to focus on that in order to be successful. So do I build, buy, or partner? For most organizations who build, they may not have the opportunity or the ability to continue to keep it maintained or updated fast enough. How fast were models changing? What's the hottest model last week? It's not the one this week, right? And it continues to change, and we're moving at that kind of speed. So what does that mean you have to do? Well, you have to build an architecture that supports the rapid amount of change. That's the foundation of the platform. As CTO, what are you saying in that, marketer?
So I saw this analogy yesterday. We met a guy and he was explaining there is a spiral phase for software that over a period of time through feature acquisition, you build a product, you continue to make more feature changes, and you partner, you acquire, your product go through a spiral phase. Even though at core you designed it to do a, let's say, CRM, but it evolved into so many different things. And when you look at that type of a world, there is always, a confusion in your mind whether you want to rewrite all of it, all together, looking at where exactly you want it to be, because you patched your system. Your system was designed for something else. You continue to put bandages on top of it. It's a patchy system. Versus, so should I just rewrite, or should I go from point A to point B? What we see, and some of the mature organizations have started talking about it. What we see that companies look at their IPs, they ask the question whether I have something good in my product. What is the moat that I have? And is that something which will sustain the AI wave? So lots of private equity, we see them talking about it. Do I have moat in my product that will survive the wave? And if it is, then how do I modernize it, make it even more relevant? Because I know that I lead the race. So the approach for that segment is different. You have the other type of customers where I have written something that you can do vibe coding and you can build in few days. So then what do I do? Either I leave the business, but I've invested money, my investors are there, or I just rewrite everything in a AI first way where everything is agentic. My interfaces have changed. So we see that companies have started learning from the experiences, especially post February 6th, the whole SaaS apocalypse that people talk about. They look at it from that lens and then take a decision. Enterprises are completely different. They build things on their own. They do not want to acquire product from outside. For them, it is more about how can I reduce my cost, accelerate feature, like a bank trying to give more capabilities to consumer, let's say a loan processing system evolving from a day to hours. I think that's the journey that they are taking. There are enormous potential there. They are moving slow. I don't know whether you agree or not, but we believe enterprises will have to do a lot of catching up because they believe they are doing good, but I think they are not really there as how, because all the SaaS companies, software companies, they are the first line where disruption have happened. So they have become mature through experience.
The scaling is the issue. So once you understand scaling and the time compression that you have to achieve, you realize that if you're not moving 10x faster or 100x faster, you're not in the game. And it's not by industry, it's all over the map. It is literally the first three top companies are all moving in that direction. We're going to create a big AI gap over time. So what I'm most interested is really, as you're talking to those customers, what is the use case? What is the opportunity that they're thinking? Because if you're focused on contraction and not focused on opportunities, then you're really not able to gain some ground. And so you're completely right. Do I rewrite everything? Probably not. Do I rewrite core? Maybe. But what are my moats today? It's data, it's your distribution model, it's your relationships and your sales relationships, and it's the experiences you deliver to a customer. And so if you're spending all your time rewriting software, you're not building anything new. And so now you got to find the right balance. So for the enterprises, for the SaaS companies, that's a different problem. Because if you're not built for a world of agentic AI and you're not able to create the interfaces for MCP, create the interfaces for A2A for cross-platform multi-agentic AI, then you might not have a future. That's a very, very different game. So the entire software market looks very different than it was before. And I want to think the Twitter moment when Elon Musk let go of 2/3 of his employees in engineering completely transformed the view of how many people we actually need to get something job to how much time we need to get something done. What is your experience? What are you seeing in the marketplace?
It's a combination actually. You are right. There is compression. Uh, I met a customer today, and this is a team of all Stanford graduates. They are so very good at their work. For years, they have been designing systems, many different products. When you see them using this modern platform, you start realizing what is changing. So in past, you have super architects. They will design interfaces, and then you have your teams who will go and implement all that. Then you have different teams, they will work on integrations. So this is a team that I met. These are like CTO minus one, and they used to define the guardrails that about 600 of the other folks would pick up and then build products. Now they use commodity platforms, and they are able to generate code from there. Now why they are successful is because they have a right architecture in place. They have designed interfaces. So when I met them, I wanted to run an experiment myself, because while we all say AI is good, when you do factory work, which is not rewriting a new software, but then when you want to go from A to B, like migration, we struggle actually. No matter how good the platform or model is,
Right.
the accuracy gets to a 60, 70, 80% in a complex enterprise code. We tried an experiment today that we took our 2003 code, all of these interfaces, and we let AI recreate all of it for me. And it was bang on, 100% accuracy.
Yeah.
So it is fascinating. So our philosophy that we started to believe now is you still need the super architects in your team.
You don't want to get rid of them.
Yeah. And these are guys who can design and define guardrails, the moat basically, algorithms, and then you let AI create it for you. So now you're not letting AI, put their own brain about how they won't hallucinate because you put the guardrails. And I think this was a moment where we knew, but then it's a validation that you still need good, solid architects, because now your architects is managing many agents, and then all agents in a very defined, well-defined guardrails are building codes, validating. Another part you talked about earlier was the verifiability. When agents create code, if I have a way to validate that, then the agents can continue to improve, and then it will eventually get me a job done. But if there is no way to validate, so back then in older times, in my time rather, we would see a test driven development. You create test cases first, and then you start writing code, validate against test case. I think similar design patterns will evolve in the world where agents will follow patterns. But you're right, I think there is compression for sure. In past, the connector in my morning meeting, they would take 6 months to build connectors. Now agents are writing connectors in days. So that 6 months of opportunity is gone, and that's where the entry level jobs were there. That is where the outsourcing was happening. I think that is a place where compression is definitely visible, and it will continue to grow even bigger, because you don't need that layer anymore. Yeah.
So I would add to that. And I would say that at this moment, every organization has to figure out how quickly they need to build something, and the difference between experience and expertise. Expertise today is a commodity, but the experience is not. And so the architects you talk about have the experience to be able to connect the dots and look across the different systems and understand the business requirement, the constraints, the actual capability internal. That is not something you can easily replace, right? Expertise, I can pick up expertise anywhere. And so we're now in a world of experience, which becomes
Very important. You're hiring people that have 20, 30 years of experience, either in an industry or in a business process, either in terms of understanding coding languages, either understanding what they need to do to actually bring data and integration. But then the rest of it is going to be automated. And this is why we're really excited about where the future is for software. And on the other hand, anyone can start a company. A 2 or 3 person company has the scale of like a 3,000 person company, which has never happened before.
What is happening in the education sector? What is happening in these government? You deal with a lot of them. Do you see them using AI to now start generating new generation software on their like at will, on demand, what we call just in time software, or are they still falling back to the old, the whole digital school software that used to be running for many years?
Because of regulation, because of the ease of use, most people are basically picking up what they were doing before in terms of the education or higher education software. Why is that the case? Because a lot of the processes have been standard out of the box. But once they get to a maturity where they've exhausted that functionality, they have the ability to build on top. And that's where it gets exciting. The whole point of having agentic AI is to be able to take the existing transactional system and do more with it. Right? Whether it's more engagement, whether it's delivering better experience and journeys, whether it's your ability to actually capture more data and create a flywheel of data to continue to power your data graphs. So those are all things that are happening very quickly in the market.
Yeah, and I have a follow-up question also. You cover a lot of companies here, and what is fascinating is there is a narrative coming from the big guys. They say white collar job is at risk, and their models, their platforms are evolving almost any day. On the other side, I see almost every day so many companies are still funded, which are doing similar things, much smaller at scale. So, what is happening here? Is it because people are still concerned about consolidating to one large organization, or is it they are not capable of doing everything? So, why not invest in a company that can do one thing and that can do that one job properly? Is which of them is true?
In fact, they're all true at the same time. So the biggest problem we have, and going back to some of the conversations we've had earlier, is that the humans are in the critical path. So you used to send someone out for 2 weeks to study a problem, gather requirements, and get something done. You'd send someone out for 2 days to actually solve a customer support problem. You'd send someone out for 1 day to gather information on a plan. Everything's happening in seconds. And because everything's happening in seconds, you don't have that time to think and compress. Back to what you were saying, what is happening is every organization now actually has to respond right away. And there's only a certain number of humans to do the response. So yes, a lot of the grunt work, the dirty work, the repetitive, the lots of volume, those kind of tasks went away, but now you have to make decisions more quickly. And so if you had a week to make a decision, you now have a day. If you had a day to make a decision, we're now down to a minute. And that's the scaling people don't understand. That's why we're talking about exponential scaling. In exponential scaling, it's not a 10x, it's not a 10% improvement, it's a 10x improvement, which makes the difference.
And back here again, there are companies that are doing full stack. Google.
Oh.
They have hardware, they have model, they have the agent.
GPU to agents.
Yes, they have everything. And now they invested in energy. They're also looking at space, data center, and all.
Oh.
And then there are companies that are doing point work. Targeted thing. Grok got acquired, but they were on a good path. The new ways of doing certain thing. There are some code generation company, they're just focusing on one small point problem again. In terms of adoption, what is your reading? I mean, do you think at some stage people would start consolidating the way hyperscaler movement happened, where while there were many cloud providers, AWS, Google, Microsoft, they started getting, everything getting consolidated there. Do you think that will happen here, or do you think it will continue to be a fragmented, purpose-built LLMs and, very task-specific vendor who is good at solving one problem?
We're definitely going to see consolidation. At the end of the day, we always see suites win. We always see platforms win. And that tension in the ecosystem is why you have these opportunities in the market. Every company that is actually trying to come into the space, they may start out with just one vendor. They may start at just services for one vendor, but we're going to see cross-platform multi-agentic AI pick up. And that means there's multiple players in the room, there's multiple standards being implemented, there's multiple capabilities for these agents to deliver outcomes that are not just focused on a function, right? The romantic notion of one agent per person and a role replacement doesn't work. In fact, it's entire value chains that are going to be run by an agent. In some cases, it's cross-industry value chains, say retail, manufacturing, and distribution come together to share information on demand signals or MDF requirements or what's actually happening for regulations for a global launch. All those things are now repeatable processes. What is at the heart of an agent? It's a function call with a cron job. Right. So what are we doing? We're orchestrating function calls with cron jobs across business processes and being able to pull the data and integrate them at speed. So now the question is a little bit different. The question you have to ask is, what metric am I tying this to? And is it a financial metric or an outcome metric, or is it what we call vanity metric, which is you reported a number that I don't care how many tokens you consumed. I want to know exactly what percentage on-time delivery did you have? What is your mean time to resolution on an issue? What is going to actually happen in terms of your molecule to market? How much did it cost you? Was it $500 million or was it $1 billion to get the product out the door? This is a very, very different game.
And what about the token prices and all that? Like, do you see people getting concerned about, that right now it is all subsidized? The agents are limited, but at some stage, when you have many agents coming together, the cost is going to go obnoxiously higher, and I should start thinking about it today. I should think about parallel strategy where local models are there. Do you see that having a discussion point here, or are they still like in that honeymoon period where we look at one large model, doesn't matter how much money I'm spending as long as I'm getting my job done?
Token economics will continue to change. We think that over time it should cost less per token because of efficiency gains, new types of chips that are actually put into place, and really efficient code. At the moment, it looks like there's so many different players in the space, and that if you don't follow your token economics properly, you might actually end up with a failed business model. But the subsidies right now are short term. If you take a look at what happened to Anthropic over the last year, they bought 5 gigawatts of capacity from Google Cloud. They bought 5 gigawatts of capacity from, I believe, Amazon. $30 billion was put into a joint venture. And then with another neocloud, they're spending another $50 billion. So there's capacity constraints that are actually happening in a token economic world. Now, is that going to get better as we build more data centers? Yeah, but it's also, as more data centers we build, the more capacity we're going to consume. So this is a very interesting challenge if you're actually looking at where you're going to be in token economics.
And do you see private models ever coming back where I have, small models, different types of model solving the problem for me, and I'm not just looking at these large ones?
Look, you have 300 billion parameters on your iPhone. We're going to see decentralized AI over time. And so that means I need smaller models that actually operate in on-prem solution type environments or disconnected mode environments. And I need the cloud to come back to actually reinform and provide more attributes, more signal, so I can figure out how something is going to be delivered. Is there a closer outcome? Is it the right attributes? Do we have the right framework? Let's switch topics real quick. One of the biggest challenges in AI is the notion of, do I have security by design? I'm not talking about responsible AI. I'm talking about designing for security on the day one. What are you looking for, or what are you delivering for clients, and what are they asking?
So we see a different world actually, because we are dealing with large enterprises, complex world, people who have built software for many, many years.
Oh, yeah.
They serve federal government. So design is the most critical aspect there. Security first. One of the things we came with a theory that at some stage, every organization will recognize, understand, realize that your data is very important.
Oh, yeah.
Because today agents are doing coding, which is okay. My code is like, it's okay if I'm sending it to some cloud. They're doing some decision making, that is still okay. But in a regulated world, I'm a healthcare company, I have customer data. I want my agents to deal with that data, but I can't afford to send it out because you don't know how it is being used today. In that world, we understood it a couple of years ago that private custom model, affordable, that I can run in data center, and I can't afford a neo cloud on my own, right? So affordable, secure because I am not sending my data outside. It is all regulated, but I still get similar behavior performance for my agents. So we started that journey. It took industry 2 years to sort of understand that yes, you still have almost 70% of your landscape uncovered because you have not taken agentic deployments to something which is sensitive.
Let's talk attack surfaces. What have we done with agents?
A lot, actually. I know one of the largest tax company. They have invested big time with some of the big names that you talked about, and what they're trying to do is build different types of agent, but they're all limited to external facing. For example, I have an agent that I can interact with. Well, what are the new regulation? If I invest in a house, am I going to save money there? But then, can I have a true agentic world where you say that there are agents working overnight doing decision making and all? At this point, they're not there, and they want to get there. This is an organization where we we talk to their platform team, and they say that we are in a single digit of productivity only because of these regulations, which is restricting them to deploy agent at scale. But that's a mature organization. At some stage, private models, different guardrail will possibly take them there.
450 out of the Fortune 500 are only growing at single digits. We're already seeing the impact in this right now. The other 50 are pretty much moving into AI scale in order to actually create. They're creating their own opportunities. They're choosing the gaps against their competitors.
Nitish, you're the CTO of Persistent. You're focusing on platforms. We're in the age of AI, which means everything is a little bit different. Every customer is facing margin compression, which means they're working 10 times harder, but they're staying still. The Fortune 500, 450 of them are only growing single digits. That is not good enough for the public market. The other thing that's happening is we're in the middle of exponential scale. If you're not 10 times faster, 100 times faster, even 1,000 times faster, better, and cheaper, you're not going to be able to play. That scaling is so different. We've never seen a situation where the time compression is the new variable. Before it was resources, before it was people, before it was technology. Now this element of time has transformed the way we look at the markets. And the last piece is we're in an era of infinite possibilities, which means we can code at the speed of thought. But if I can build everything, I'm going to build nothing, because the number one rule strategy is tell me what you're not going to do. And if you don't have velocity and you have speed, you're not going to succeed. Velocity is speed plus direction. And in a winner takes all market, if you're not first, you don't get 60% of the market share. The next player gets 20%, and everything after that is not worth fighting for. And so this element, this urgency is now in the landscape. What are your clients asking for? How are they asking for your help?
Most of them are trying to figure out what will help them get the best results. We see customers coming back and asking about sometimes modernization, sometimes taking them to a space where now they can do all of these innovations that you just talked about. We see only a few expert, users, customers who come back with their direction. They know what to do. They understand that they are being disrupted. They know that they have some things good in their product where they need acceleration. Sometimes platforms are designed to do some things, and I'll take an example. You talked about coding agents. They're designed for developers, but a developer can't make all business decisions. How do you orchestrate a team to work with tools, collaborate, and then now collectively your productivity goes up? For us, that is a place where customers are talking to us, asking us, our feedback. They are asking help in areas where they can set right context in place. Context differ from one customer to another. They don't even know where their data resides today. The whole modernization, bringing them to a AI stack, they are ready for adopting new technologies. So the nuts and bolts of AI are the places where they come out, they talk to us and understand what can we do for them. That is why as a company, we came up with frameworks. Like in coding, you used to have design patterns. We have frameworks now. We can help customers with certain frameworks to prepare them for the right infrastructure, that if today new things come up, they are not going to waste their innovation. They can upgrade from stack A to stack B.
Well, let's set the context here. Technology companies have different needs than enterprise companies. And for the technology companies, you're talking about helping them accelerate concept to commercialization, time to market, because they need all the help they can right now because they're under the pressure, not just time, but also scale. And when you look at enterprises, that's a very different game. What are they asking for?
Enterprises have fragmented teams. Their innovations are also happening in different pockets. They are not standardized. Today, with AI, they've tried many things. So one team in an enterprise may be using Anthropic, the other team may be using OpenAI. Maybe there is a regulated team, they are trying to build a new stack altogether. Maybe they are trying to fine-tune a model. In enterprises, we see they have an effort to try and consolidate their initiatives together. That's where they come to us.
So let me summarize that. So you're saying the proliferation of POCs across different types of models, different types of technologies in different business groups is actually a waste of time because they're not getting economies of scale. They're not able to pull these things together. And in some cases, giving them a platform might be the way to actually get them to actually take advantage of all their efforts.
Right. And then they all believe that, see, in different waves of AI, today they believe if I buy some commodity platform, they are smart enough to do a lot of things for me. But again, every team is different. Having a platform will make it standard, the innovation, the context.
So you're saying we're at a point where get out of the POC, start figuring out how to get to scale.
Yes.
And that's not something teams traditionally were able to do because it's such a new technology. They actually need to lean on people that have actually gotten to scale.
Yes, and then it is the years of experience of how to deal with enterprise scale, your data, privacy, governance,
And security. Talk about security by design. What are some common pitfalls and mistakes people aren't doing?
So look at data acquisition. You talked about MCP. MCP do not have authorization by design.
There's no security by design.
Yeah, there is
I mean, it's now free for all.
Yeah. Now, if I have a SharePoint document, I share to you as a write permission, and I share to my friend who can only read the document. In AI, that guardrail is missing. Some of the most famous platform today do not inherit ACL, which used to be a critical factor when you manage documents, right? Yeah. So for all of your system of records, you had permissions designed. There are custom permissions designed. AI will have to inherit all of it. So now your agents are going to take right decisions. It is missing today. Someone will have to sit and write that. Platforms do not do that.
So how do you ensure security by design?
So data, how do you organize data? How do you build context that you are not violating anything?
Right.
Use right context for the work that you are doing, having guardrails, the code that comes out. Am I doing code reviews? Things like Code Rabbit, am I inserting it at right place to validate what is coming out? Do I validate how my code is going to function when it comes out? What is the open source, the whole software supply chain, whether it is built out of any vulnerable code that are out there? Eventually, when I deliver a software, is it following my organization guardrail? I think there are many nuances to security, but there are some foundational things that you have to get right. Not just use a commodity platform and just start generating a code.
But let's talk about AI development trends. In the most advanced customers we're seeing, they're basically building repos. And when they're done with all these repos, not a human will ever check code again. And those repos guarantee the reusability and reuse, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it works across different agentic systems. And so what are you guys doing in terms of platforms to ensure not just the integration on the MCP side, but also what we're seeing on cross-platform multi-agentic AI on the A2A side when agents communicate to other agents? Because most customers haven't even gotten to that level yet.
Yeah, now this has evolved really well. AI development lifecycle, it is a talking point. People have started deploying it.
It's CI/CD plus testing automated.
It is end-to-end, right from the requirement, or where a product manager is trying to expand a requirement to business analyst looking at it, coming to developer desk, agents are writing code, testing, verifying.
Is your prototype 90% done already?
Prototype for what?
When you actually sit there with customers, by the time you're done prototyping, are you already 90% there?
No, not really actually. So again, maturity changes.
Yep.
Your
No, there's this belief that it's so easy. We're just done in 90%.
Oh no. So let's look at 90% also. Let's say it is true. Let's say you are getting 90%. I'm doing a migration. Is 90% good enough?
No,
it is not.
It's not close.
It's
not even
yeah.
close.
Yeah, like a medical thing, right? Like if a doctor comes to you and say that I'm going to do a surgery on you, and by the way, the efficacy is 80% only. Are you going to do that? No.
I don't know.
You need
I-
100%.
I want 100, but
Yeah.
it just depends on my time. That's
Yeah.
my risk factor.
Right. And everyone talks about it, that if I'm implementing agentic system, how am I verifying? If I'm not verifying, I don't know what is happening there.
Yeah.
At every layer we talked about, at the end of the day, when you develop something new, you can create that layer. If you augment something which exists, you have to replicate all that.
So why should I use your platform instead of build my own?
4 things, the way you coordinate, because your systems are not all AI. You have AI and non-AI system. You have different teams. You have teams that design your front end, back end. How do I bring all of them in decision making at the critical points, right? From creating a plan, what you see in coding platform, a plan mode. A plan is maybe 10% of what actually gets into a design document. How do I create all of it? How do I bring all my teams together? That's one layer. The second is, it's not just about one repository. My product has maybe 200 repositories. They are all having interdependencies. I have my tickets into some system. I have some of my design documents placed somewhere. If I can connect all of them and create a context that is sent across during code development, I'll trust that system more. And the most important piece is when you build different stack, like people say RAG is dead. So a product is not just about one repository. There are 200 repositories. My documents are fragmented. I have test cases written somewhere. My test system is somewhere out there. I have to connect to create context. And underneath, I need a platform, because last year I did RAG. Now RAG is dead. I need a knowledge graph. Today I may be using Neo4j. Tomorrow there may be some new technology coming in.
I mean, there's a brand new semantic layer that just popped up.
Oh yeah, so my platform should take care of me of handling all those changes. If I move from one stack to another, there should be an upgrade. These are old problems. In past, every enterprise solution had an upgrade capability, that I am moving you from version A to version B.
Backward compatibility.
Yes, and we have to build all that. So our platform provides you these interfaces with 3 guardrails. One, we use private models. So you are not only using these big,
Right.
the model, frontier models. You can create a private model which is hosted inside your premise. Second, deterministic layer. How do I test, verify every single thing that I am doing? And third, collaboration, that it is not one developer which will eventually create a product. Enterprise products need different mindset. You need set of architects who will come and design. My system will bring all of them together to ensure that every layer has many people collaborating, not just one guy and one agent.
So model choice, deterministic capability, the ability to collaborate, security by design, and the fact that your platform's constantly being updated.
Yes.
So are you a software company now?
All of us, they say that service as a software is a new phenomenon. I know you would have heard about it. But for us, it is about creating a platform that I can use to deliver services better. It's faster, cheaper, better quality that I produce to every single work that we do. At the same time, if there are platforms that evolve tomorrow which is doing good job, I'll adopt it. But at the same time, in past also, look at Kafka. When Kafka was there, it was outstanding.
Oh yeah.
But you still need Confluent or something in AWS, because you don't want to get into the mess of managing that infrastructure, right? We are that layer today. So we are not exactly a software company, but we have to act like a software company now. We have to build
So
platform.
act like a software company, deliver outcomes like a services company.
Yes.
That's really the shift that we're seeing in the marketplace. And now it's not just the software, it's the digital labor along with the humans that are there.
Exactly.
What is the role of a human today?
Humans are architects. I'm a supervisor. I have many agents. I have to make sure that my agents follow certain direction. So I will hire a bunch of architects. I'll have them design a system properly, understand the domain and context, have agents doing the task, review the task, ensuring that all guardrails are taken care of, and then have them collaborate and produce a product.
So do I need less humans or do I need more humans or what kind of level do I need?
Now there is no developer, tester, there is no documentation. Everyone is
Documentation was great. You just
Oh yeah, they're all
Don't you
architects.
miss waterfall?
We have done it.
Waterfall was great as a product manager.
Oh yeah.
I come up with the requirements, the developer would build stuff, I would go to conferences and then come back and see what happened.
I'll show you something interesting actually.
All right.
In our platform, now we call it round actually. Round is like a sprint.
Okay.
Sprint, if you recall, 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
Yeah.
2 weeks. Our sprint run for few hours.
Yeah, that's
So-
a shift
So yeah, that's a shift.
from 3 weeks to 3
Yeah.
hours.
And it is like a waterfall because what happens, I run sprints. Every sprint in our world, let's say 5 hours, agents work, they validate and they believe that this unit of work is done, hand it over to the next task. Maybe 15th round, I am doing my integration testing and
So
I
is
realize.
Agile dead? We're back to waterfall?
So yeah, I mean, what happens at 15th round is I realize that something went wrong. I go back again
Yes.
and I complete all of the tasks. But that time, the duration is no longer 6 months. It may be 5 days.
Wait, so the headline is Agile is dead?
I mean, why do you follow Agile when your agents are not going to have that similar metrics, similar benchmark? You know, they are all collaborating simultaneously. So that's why we went away from sprint and we call it round.
Yeah.
That these are like repetitive, iterative approach of trying to look at a problem, bring agents, verify, do it till you get it right.
Okay. So we are in a middle of a platform shift. We're also in the middle of a different way of consuming software. What shifted? What are customers asking for? They're not asking for more seats, right?
Oh yeah, now look at what is happening in SaaS. I may not need many subscription. I can have agents using one of my subscription and do the job for me.
Yeah.
Why should I log into a dashboard? Look at what OpenClaw has done. I use my WhatsApp, my Telegram.
Did you see the number of M4 Mac Mini sales?
Oh yeah.
It's on fire. They even raised the price $100. These open claws are air gap systems doing their own little thing.
I don't know if you've tried OpenClaw, but
Oh,
I'm a
yes.
huge fan of that technology, that it just absolutely no guardrail. You put it on a box, you open it completely, let it innovate, let it create its own tools, and it can do anything for you. And I believe this is going to evolve further, Hermes, all those new
yeah.
tools that are coming.
Is the headline on-prem is back?
On-prem is always there. It is not going to go
All right, so
anywhere.
hybrid is going to be here for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if I'm using as a personal data,
Right.
I will prefer having an on-prem system where I am running everything. I can connect everything and I'm not concerned about any data leak.
So one of the biggest questions we tell our customers is, once you're done collapsing decision trees, when and where do you insert a human? Automations assume. When and where do you insert a human? So is the human touch still needed here?
Yes, I think the decision making, a review of your plan, architecture, whichever way, whichever tool you are using, I think these are places we must have humans. If you don't do that, AI is designed to go in a particular direction. It can start making mistake and it can go. Now people talk about day and night agent. Agents are working all night doing a job.
Yeah.
If it start taking a wrong direction, the whole night you've burnt millions of tokens. It has taken, let's say, hundreds of decisions. Everything is wrong.
So when we're operating at hundreds of decisions per second, even 1,000 decisions per second, the human is still the critical path.
It is actually. Humans are still the architect. They still design interfaces. Agents follow them.
This has been a great conversation. We have talked about where the AI trends are headed. We're talking about what customers need to be successful. We see where the platform shifts are happening. The business models are also changing for a lot of these companies. Security is a big piece that actually has to be done by design. And more importantly, as this evolves, even the way we look at pricing, the way we engage, we still need humans, even in an AI world. Thank you so much.